We have a sport.
Yes.
Whose entire goal is to take 11 big-ass dudes, crash them into each other violently, and one side push the other 100 yards in one direction, or the other side stop it from happening.
Mm-hmm.
The entire NFL game is violence.
It is.
But why do they need a chief kindness officer? What is unkind about the NFL? Why is this even a thing? Hey guys, thanks for watching The Twisted View. Leland Conway, along with our special guest, Ryan Schuiling. You catch him on KHOW in the morning, 6 to 10, when he's awake. We'll see.
Sometimes.
And we got Benjamin Allbright, Broncos Country tonight. We are back at it again. So, speaking of Broncos, did pretty well in the playoffs this year. Almost.
On the doorstep.
Yeah. But heading into Super Bowl Sunday, we're going to have Bad Bunny doing a halftime show, which has been somewhat controversial, especially after his Grammy appearance. But in addition to that, the NFL has now appointed a chief kindness officer for Super Bowl week. A chief kindness officer. We'll talk about who that is in a minute because Benjamin's really ripped about this, okay?
I can tell.
But why do they need a chief kindness officer? What is unkind about the NFL? Why is this even a thing?
It's like the NFL has been playing with house money for so long. And I remember there was a handoff. I'm a little bit older than both of you guys. Major League Baseball was the most popular sport in America through the 80s. And then there was this flip. And what was that attributable to? Well, I think Jerry Jones in the 90s and the marketing of the league and what they were able to get through sponsorship opportunities, television. The NFL did everything right. And now it's like they've done so much right that they're like, oh, we got to get creative. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You are the brand, the
Sounds
Tiffany
like they're
brand.
saying if it ain't woke, then fix it.
Bingo, right there. And it's like we go back to Bud Light.
Yeah.
Remember the marketing gal that wanted to do the Dylan Mulvaney campaign because Bud Light was too fratty.
Right.
That's your brand. That's who you appeal to.
Yeah.
And in the NFL, it's found money. You don't have to overthink it. And they're overthinking it because I think of the NFL and I think of the greatest entertainment product on the planet, and you really don't have to church it up.
Okay. Benjamin. We have a sport.
Yes.
Whose entire goal is to take 11 big-ass dudes, crash them into each other violently, and one side push the other 100 yards in one direction, or the other side stop it from happening. The entire NFL game is violence.
It is.
Can't say that about baseball, MLB.
That Robin
You can't
Ventura
say that
Nolan
about
Ryan
soccer.
moment.
I mean, you could say violence happens at that, but the goal in baseball is not to beat the snot out of your opponent
No.
physically, nor in basketball, maybe hockey.
A little bit.
Okay, but what is the point? There is to what Ryan is saying, because he sets this up beautifully. Who are you appealing to that isn't already watching the game?
Right.
Because the people that like the violence don't want to hear about your kindness officer.
Right.
The people that want to hear about your kindness officer are probably actually watching Puppy Super Bowl, not the NFL. Am I wrong?
Well, okay. So I get these press releases like for the league a little bit before they go out, before you get the notifications, the Adam
Yeah,
Schefter's
you're
or
in the
whatever.
know. We get it.
Well, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to say, I'm trying to set the scene here. So I get the email, and I open it up, and I'm like, first of all, who asked for this? like who asked for this? Like, Chief, what are you? Is this the guy that's going to enforce that people are like, hey, that was a great hit, man. Thank you. Like after the play, like who asked? Nobody asked for this.
You did so well.
What gap is this bridging? Because it's not. And then I saw the name. And you guys may not be familiar with this name. His name is Darman. You may not be familiar with the person. I am. And this is one of the biggest con artists I have seen over the last 20 years. This guy, he started off with a bunch of failed businesses that he would scam his investors out of. Then he did WeGrow, which was a weed-based deal that he scammed his partner and his investors out of their money. After that, he defrauded the city of Oakland. They brought 13 felony charges against him. And in a plea deal, he agreed to plead guilty to 5 of them and have the other 8 kind of go away. He wound up getting some of that expunged from his record back in 2021, and he's been on YouTube putting out these, kumbaya, videos that kids watch and stuff these days, trying to rehab his image or whatever. He's a con artist.
Are we sure that he didn't find God and turn his life around?
That may
now
that
his
may be the
mission
latest.
is to do the same for everybody eating wings and.
I mean, look, the best way I could put this is like, okay, if you are that guy, I firmly believe in redemption and you could turn your life around, whatever. I firmly believe you can do that. This guy has never even apologized for doing any of this stuff. He tries to pretend it didn't happen.
Part of the redemption.
Yeah. In 2021, when somebody interviewed for him for this, instead of being apologetic about it, he's like, yeah, they expunged it from my record. And that was, that was it. This guy is a fraud. He's a con artist. He's always been one. And I have no idea how the NFL got in bed with this guy.
I was just going to say, how does he walk through the front door?
That's my question.
Of an NFL hire on this level? It's big news. You get the press release, the vetting process. How does he con artist? But how does he con the NFL, Roger Goodell, and all the higher ups making that decision?
Given how successful he was in the past, I guess.
There it is. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And by the way, I don't know this guy, but I just looked him up and that's exactly what I would have thought the chief kindness officer at the NFL would look like. Like he totally looks like
got the arms crossed.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm trying to puff the biceps up. I like to wear deep V-neck T-shirts. This guy's got the boat neck, going on.
Definitely kind of looks a little bit like the creepy kids TV show type host or something like that. I don't know what's going on there, but anyway, look, there feels to me like since Trump was elected, we had a backlash against woke-lash, right? Like there was a big push. That was a part of his election was we're tired of this, right? It started with Bud Light. You brought up Bud Light, and people were just like, we were not having any of it, right? Now there almost seems like there's a fight back going on, right? There's an element that's like, okay, well, we may not be able to institutionalize this anymore the way we had, but we're sure as heck going to make it part of society, right? That's what I feel like is happening here. Somebody in the NFL's back office that works in the HR department, because it's always the HR department, has decided that they need the chief kindness officer. And that's the only explanation I can even think of, because I don't know who that's going to suck into the NFL that, we anybody that owns a business, I own a small business. I think you own a small business. You've owned businesses before. When you're trying to bring it, you're always trying to figure out, like, am I tapping into the full market that wants my product, right? Am I getting to everybody I need to get to? I get that. That makes sense. And we might try to appeal to this demographic a little different than we appeal to this demographic. But at the end of the day, everybody that you're appealing to, whether it's slightly different across these channels, they all have the same need, and your product meets that need. I'm trying to figure out where the kind bunnies are going to get their needs met watching grown-ass men clash into each other for 4 hours on a Sunday afternoon.
I don't know if it's just like almost like a greedy mentality by the NFL. Oh, we got our diehards. We don't have to worry about them. We can forsake them. We can have Bad Bunny do the halftime show, even though it's not in our demographic. I mean, sometimes you just got to recognize what you are and be okay with it. You can expand at the margin somewhat.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about this kindness officer, to me, it's like an extension of the whole George Floyd reaction to going back to 2020 and racism in the end zone, these messages in the end zone.
Right.
And the thing is and Benjamin could probably speak to this because he's in it. One of the least racist places in America or the world is the NFL.
Or professional sports in general.
Majority of the athletes are black.
Right.
There is harmony in the locker rooms. I've talked to Nick Ferguson, our colleague at KOA, about the fact that they don't see it, they don't feel it. I mean, you do your own thing in the locker room, and that's fine.
Right.
But football's the consummate, ultimate team game that brings people together. And I think the NFL could learn a lot from its own players and teams in employing that philosophy
brings
in their
people
marketing.
together to be violent against other people and not so kind.
Well, further than that, Ryan hit the nail on the head. It's the ultimate meritocracy.
Correct.
It doesn't matter what your skin color is. Can you play the position or not? If you can't cover somebody, you're not going to be a corner.
What's your 40?
That's it's like end of the day, like if you can't catch the ball, you're not going to be a receiver.
Colin Kaepernick found that out, by the way. He was a mediocre football player.
And that's the juice wasn't worth the squeeze and him coming back. Like he could have been a backup for anybody. He was good enough to be a backup,
had a career.
marginal starter, but
he had just
Tim Tebow kind of had the same, if on the opposite end of the spectrum, had the same thing. At the end of the day, juice isn't worth the squeeze, but it's two opposite ends of the same. It's a meritocracy, and so it is inherently unracist.
It is interesting, though, by the way, that Tim Tebow is now saving kids from sexual trafficking all over the world. So at least he did something really incredible with his life.
Yeah, his foundation put the money to work.
Yeah.
As far as the rest of it goes, I mean, first of all, I'm not sure what a chief kind officer does. I think it's a title that they're giving him in an attempt to tap into his.
Do you think he's getting money for it, or do you think
he paid money for it? So I think he paid for the title, and then what he gets is the NFL putting his name out there. Parents see his name because he's got these kid videos. That's what he does now. It's like these kid videos on YouTube thing or whatever. So he's looking.
Do you really think this is an advertising sell?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. This is what the NFL does. Everything's for sale.
Now we have, my mind is blown. We have an entire different topic. We have the NFL
I'll go a step further.
Selling positions as a fake advertising. Then a con man is perfect for that.
The NFL's been trying to get the kids market for years. Look at the Nickelodeon things that they've been trying to do. They're trying to bring kids. They're trying to get that next wave of people. Yeah. And so that's what they're trying to do. Bad Bunny is not getting paid by the NFL to perform at halftime. Bad Bunny paid to perform.
Are you serious?
All the artists pay.
See, this is why we got to have a guy who covers this stuff on the program.
All these artists, they pay because, and Bad Bunny is an international superstar. You guys, we don't know it as much because he sings in Spanish, but like he's huge around the world. He's the number one selling artist in the world. He paid. He's trying to tap into the American artist, into the American audience. The NFL is trying to tap into the Hispanic audience. The NFL would like to expand. They want to expand in Europe, and they want to expand to Mexico and South America. And so if they can start getting more and more Hispanic demand,
but that makes sense. Bad Bunny, I don't care.
I don't care about that. I would, I would pick somebody else.
Bad Bunny makes sense from that standpoint. And I was in Ireland just in October, and they had the game there. It was Pittsburgh and the Vikings. Yeah. And the whole country was a Twitter with this. They were so excited to be hosting this game. And I was kind of like, hey, I came here to get away from Americans. And now I'm like right in the middle of Philly or something, or Pittsburgh. But I understand that. From a business standpoint, that makes a lot of freaking sense to me.
Okay.
Kindness officer doesn't mean squat to me. Well, I don't know how you're going to pull kids in now. They're going to be like, I was thinking about playing soccer in high school, but I decided to play football because when I was 8, the guy I watched on YouTube videos was the chief kindness officer, so it's probably going to be a really kind sport. Come on.
That's his grift, though. His grift is now all these hyper positive messages for kids. That's and getting
that is perfect. Though.
So this is what it is. So now,
because if the NFL is selling the position of chief kindness officer, that's freaking con. So a con and a con makes sense to me.
That's at the end of the day, and that's what it ultimately turns into. It's a site where the NFL's like, I'm making more money off this. I'm exposing all these kids to what it is that we do. We're the preeminent sport in America. Which I was there when it made the switch from baseball. Yeah. I remember that. The strike and all that kind of stuff. That was it. I remember it. But football is the predominant sport here now, and they want to keep that. They've had the NFL or football in general has had some setbacks. You've had the concussion, the CTE,
right? Yeah.
Stuff, and so they want to re-up kids coming back to football.
Let me ask you this, because that brings to mind this other thing. I still think chief kindness officer is dumb.
It's hilariously dumb, but
I wonder if part of the problem that the NFL is having is, you mentioned the CTE. That's huge because there's a lot of people that try to ban football in high schools and stuff like that. It's looked at a little bit differently. But part of this is we have an entire generation of young people that are indoctrinated into a completely different way of thinking. Mm-hmm. So I don't think you can pull them into a game of violence given the way they've been raised up to this point, not only by their parents, but by our schools. Let's say more so by our schools. I don't think you can pull them into a game of violence by just having a chief kindness officer. I don't think that happens.
To me, it's again goes back to my point of you can expand at the margins. And we're talking about this, and Benjamin makes a great point internationally, whether that's Hispanic-speaking people or Spanish-speaking people, or in Europe, and broadening it. You can't escape it in Ireland. That's all well and good, but you can never forget. You know this in our experience in broadcasting. What is your core demographic? Yeah. Who are you really presenting this product to? Who is going to be loyal to your brand? Who is going to pay to see your brand, whether it's merchandise or going to games, tickets, the NFL Sunday ticket? It's going to be your traditional kind of macho guys that want to have that escape, have that bonding experience. You can't forget them.
Where did this idea, though, that macho guys, where did this idea come from that macho guys aren't kind?
Right. Because how is that mutually exclusive?
Yeah. All you got to do right now is look at the viral videos from the southeastern portion of the country where all these masculine, toxic dudes were out in their four-wheel drive pickup trucks pulling people out of ditches for the last 2 weeks because of that storm. right?
Or
There
North
was
Carolina after the.
Did you see the train of
right.
pickup trucks pulling the semi truck? I'm like, that's my boys right there, right? I mean, that's exactly what I'm talking about. The idea that they're not kind, that people who I don't get that. Maybe I'm making too much of this.
It sounds like alpha males need a chief kindness officer, not the to advertise.
I think it goes back to some of the indoctrination you're talking about, Leland, where masculinity just writ large has been equated with toxic when there are so many positive aspects of masculinity that men have been, kind of left behind on.
Well, look at every sitcom for the last 30 years.
Right.
If you're not a bumbling idiot, you can't be a father in a sitcom anymore.
That's true. That's true.
You're the comedic foil. You're the idiot.
Yeah, the wife has to be hot.
Right.
The dad has to have the dad bod.
Yeah.
Which I'm not buying that women are looking around for a guy with a whoop.
Yeah, with all due respect, and I mean all due respect, no woman's ideal man is Kevin James.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I hate that phrase, at the end of the day, but I said it. I still can't wrap my head around what they're trying to accomplish. I get what you guys are saying. Maybe it's the kids, maybe whatever. I don't see how this accomplishes that. I think you already nailed exactly why they're doing it.
Oh.
If they sold it, they don't give a crap about whether or not it actually reaches kids. Mm-hmm. They made some more money. Yeah. But to your point, they don't care if it pisses off their main demographic either, apparently.
I don't think they think they're going to lose their main demo. The biggest pushback, the biggest pushback came post Kaepernick, and even then, you only saw a 3% drop.
Well, where's the main demo going to go? Is probably what they're thinking.
That's the thing. There is no alternative.
I mean, we
now.
can't watch. I wish we could, but we can't watch rugby right now.
We are main demo, the three of us here, just inherently. But there was a time, and a lot of my listeners, so I get a lot of conservative talk, and there's many of them that abandoned the NFL because of the Kaepernick thing or because of the George
They could just
Floyd
go to
stuff.
college football like me. I mean,
you can, but to me, I'm not going to keep score on that front. I grew up. Billy Sims was my hero back going like 1980s. My hero. I got to interview him. I love the NFL. I'm unapologetic about it. They're going to do things that maybe tick me off a little bit with some of this nonsense. But am I going to abandon the NFL because of what a great entertainment product it is? It's appointment viewing. I think Benjamin's right. And it's not that they want to take us for granted, but to a certain degree they can.
Yeah.
And they're kind of taking liberties with that.
I mean, I think that's a good point. I mean, to a certain extent, they can do that and not all day
They'll find
long.
the inflection point. Like, if the inflection point ever comes, they'll find it. The NFL is a $26 billion a year in terms of revenue. They'll find the inflection point.
Yeah. By the way, Denver getting ready to put maybe a roof on Mile High Stadium?
No, they're going to do a whole new stadium. They're going to do a whole new stadium, and it's going to be owner financed. We were like one of the few cities out there that can actually afford it, that has owners that can afford to privately finance a stadium. We're going to get a whole new stadium, and they are going to put, I think, a retractable roof.
A retractable roof.
Yeah, because they still want the open air feel for most of it. Yeah. But then you get games like we saw with the Patriots game where the snow was all. Now, I love that, but apparently a lot of people didn't like that.
Yeah.
I didn't like it when I was standing in it, but I do love that. I do love cold
weather. I was
weather.
going to say, the upper decks can be quite uncomfortable when the wind starts blowing, especially if it's cold.
Wouldn't know about that. I'm lucky enough to be a little lower down.
I'm the cheap seats guy. I'm the cheap seat. You never hook me up, so I'm the cheap seats guy.
I'm being shamed right now live in real time.
To just real quick on the private financing, I mean, I know the public will pay for the roads and
they'll pay for infrastructure improvement, but the stadium itself and all that's going to be
that's okay because the public's going to get the benefit of it as well. But that I hate to compliment Denver on something because they've done so much wrong recently, especially in this area.
We should compliment them on the things they get right.
But that did not come to the taxpayers and say, but there might be a demographics issue with coming to the taxpayer because I think a lot of the people that run the city of Denver are kind of the chief kindness officer guys, and they're not necessarily the NFL guys. Just trying to bring it full circle. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm a guy, as you can see, Detroit. I come from the NFC Norris, as Chris Berman used to say. The Lions have not played outdoors, in almost 50 years now. The Bears, the Packers, they do. The Vikings do not. But the thing about going forward, I love the vision that the Broncos ownership has here because you have to have a retractable roof. Why?
Right.
Denver wants to host a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And the only way you're going to do that is twofold. You get a new stadium and you have that capability. As much as it might break the hearts of a lot of Broncos fans because weather, altitude, that's been big factors that have worked in favor of the Broncos in these matchups. Why home field advantage means so much. but you have to think big picture, future. You look at SoFi Stadium, Jerry World, the new stadium in Glendale, Arizona for the Cardinals, Ford Field even for the Lions. They got a Super Bowl.
Right.
And this is just, it makes too much sense not to do it. You will lose. But I think if anything sealed the deal is what Benjamin said. The second half of that AFC Championship game where weather totally determined the outcome, I think many people that might have been on the fence were like, nah, go ahead and put the roof on.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a pretty good point. That's a really good point.
I think it ends up working out because then that stadium becomes multi-use. If you have a retractable roof, you can do concerts in February. You can, they can do other things to keep those.
I saw a concert in Mile High and it was awful.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Not the
because
best.
the acoustics were terrible.
Right.
Mm-hmm. They were just terrible. And I was like, this is too good a facility for that to go. And I'll just say one last thing on that. With regards to if the Broncos were able, or Mile High was ever able to host a Super Bowl here, that would be the 1 week that we actually solved the homeless problem. I was saying they would clean that stuff up quick.
I don't know if you can drop the headset mic or whatever, but that's a walk-off.
All right. Thanks for coming out, guys. Appreciate it. Hey, keep it right here. It's The Twisted View. Find it on your favorite podcast source wherever you can. I'm Leland Conway, Benjamin Allbright, Ryan Schuiling. See you next time.